Cincinnati?
No, he actually has been loaned to Arizona for the rest of the year.
Yeah. But he's not here with Arizona.
Right.
Tonight.
How we doing?
Hey,
you all good?
I didn't think you'd be here. Oh, it's Wednesday. You're not gonna go.
Yeah, Wednesday I can't be here.
How are you?
Doing good, doing good. Usual run through. Same deal as last time. I'm going back.
Ready as always, Kickers!
Okay.
Kickers, great to see you.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Arizona, they haven't lost in 4 games, so.
What, 2-1-1?
Yeah.
No comms, so just look for my cue out of here, and then usual stuff that breaks.
Okay.
Reads, I just throw that up. You can read over that. And then,
We're good to go on.
yep,
You can hear me on this?
yep.
Testing. Hello. Hello there.
No Asante Samuel, huh?
Samuel Asante? You're going to do that, and I'm going to do that all season.
All right, Evan Newton, Matt Castle, Daniel.
Isn't he playing for Kansas City?
Antunez.
Daniel Antunez.
Okay. Brian
Gallego. That's how I'm going to go with Gallego.
Gallego. Okay, Gallego. Scott Morrison, Joey Dillon, Del Piccolo, right?
Yep.
Bradley Ballander.
Ballader.
Okafor, Schwarzenberger, and
Druber.
huh?
Swartz and Druber.
Oh, Schwarzenberger. And then what is number 10?
That's what we're trying to figure out. Shillo.
Tashuma.
Let's go with that. Tashuma.
Tashuma.
And who is their coach? Mark? No, it's referee Mark.
It's
Do we have a list of the referees?
Yes. It's going to be there.
Oh, okay.
Their coach is Michael Delarusso.
yes.
You know him?
No, I don't.
Any word on him? Good evening, everyone. Welcome to City Stadium in Richmond, Virginia. It's USL Pro Soccer once again from City Stadium in Richmond as the Richmond Kickers get ready to play host to Arizona. Mike Neville, Mark Bushman, and Ryan Hines along with you once again. Pleased to be bringing you USL Pro Soccer, and the Arizona club that comes in here tonight sports a record of 2-1-1 on the season. Last time out, they picked up their second win of the season with a 2-1 victory over Charlotte. And Mark, kind of like the Rochester situation, we thought there was maybe a little struggling in-house with the organization and so forth, but it certainly is not. It is not shown on the field for this Arizona club.
Well, you know, they got their first game of the season against Oklahoma City Energy, and they got blown out 4-0. But the team had only been together for maybe a couple of weeks, so they were still getting things together. Over the last 3 games, Mike, they've played just as good as anybody else in the league. A couple of 2-1 wins over Sacramento and Charlotte, and a 1-1 draw at the LA Galaxy, basically the JV team for the LA Galaxy.
Right, exactly.
But they've really gotten themselves together, and they're 2-1-1. There was some news that's come out in the last 24 hours dealing with Richmond and Arizona is that Jalen's been recalled to D.C. United, and he's been loaned out to Arizona for the remainder of the season. He wasn't getting a whole lot of minutes here in Richmond. As a part of the agreement, Richmond said he can't play against us tonight. So we won't see Jalen Robinson, but he's going to be, I think, a mainstay. And I like Robinson a lot. I think he has a lot of potential. I think he's going to be yet another addition to an Arizona team that seems to be getting better every week.
So if you're an Arizona fan, are we expecting him to see him tomorrow night then against Harrisburg, do you think?
I have no idea, but let's say yes.
Okay.
It's not like he had
it's
to
a
fly.
multiple, it's a multiple choice.
It's not like he had to fly all the way out there. You could just like meet him on the
exactly.
Pennsylvania Turnpike or something like that.
Well, if you're an Arizona fan, tune in tomorrow night at Harrisburg and see if Jalen Robinson is playing. And if he's not, I'll give you Mark Bushman's phone number at the end of the night.
Alex Lee and Cristiano Francois as well.
Here's an opportunity right off the bat for Richmond. They slide the ball through, and it's still onside. Ooh, and just pushing that shot wide was Spitz. I think Richmond thought it might have been an offside call, but play continued.
No, that was good. That was a horrible turnover by Arizona in their own third of the field. It was like he passed it right to the Richmond player.
To Colin Martin,
we actually were still talking about the Maryland guys, and we almost had a goal there. But yeah, wow, Richmond really could have used that. That would have changed the course of this game real quick.
Well, Shea Spitz is a left-footed player, so you expect him to do a little bit better than that. And it's a possibility what he was looking at doing is just slotting that with the outside of his foot across the box into Matthew Delicotte's run.
So Arizona now is fortunate they're not down here less than a half a minute into the contest. We're still scoreless, and it is Arizona now in possession, and they promptly push it out of play. So it'll be a throw-in for Richmond. Just underway here at City Stadium. Cloudy night. There is a slight threat of some storms, but hopefully we'll get this one in with no problem.
I'm just glad for it to be above 75 degrees.
It's well above 75 degrees, trust me.
Especially in this press box.
Yes. You're right. Here's Lee playing it back for Willis, but Shinosky's going to step in front of that and now play it over to Yambi.
You know, I'm sorry, Mike. Go ahead. I was going to say, I think one of the things that might actually help Arizona tonight is, being used to an area where there's not a whole lot of humidity. That's one of the problems here in the Mid-Atlantic for those teams. But there is not hardly any humidity here tonight. So I think Arizona caught a little bit of a break, and it's good that they scheduled this now rather than June, July, or August.
Right,
Smart scheduling on their part.
That's a good point because this is probably.
They have a Friday, Saturday game, like Rochester did last week, and Rochester was more than happy to get the point here last week. So I'm curious to see what Arizona's going to do tonight.
The pass now is Arizona's on the attack. There's a cross from Arizona, and now it's controlled by Richmond. Piccolo was the one that had the cross for Arizona, and now Richmond in possession. We touched on it a little bit last week, guys, about the back-to-back contests, and there's an opportunity now for the Kickers. It looks like it's George Davis IV sliding into the middle, but it's defended away by Arizona. Here's Vercoloni trying to track it down and does, and trying to get it back to George Davis IV, but unsuccessful. But Ryan, I was wondering, when the coaches look at the schedule, they say, okay, I want to get a point here and maybe get 2 points tomorrow night against Harrisburg, or, obviously they want to win every game, but do they go into any type of mindset where they say, okay, might be easier to get a tie than a win against this team as, say, tomorrow night's team? Is it looked at that way at all, do you think?
It's a good question, Mike, but to be fair, I think always the first game that you're going into is you're the freshest. It's the most level, even-keeled type of game because your players are fresh. Going into tomorrow night, your players are going to be tired.
Right.
Especially you have the outside backs. Matt Castle pushes extremely high on the right back position and almost acts as a right midfielder. He's going to be gassed for tomorrow's game if he starts. But in saying that, for Arizona, this was probably the best game to have first out of the two between Harrisburg and Richmond. If they were to play Harrisburg first, Harrisburg is typically a blue-collar type of team that is physical, aggressive, and it's going to wear you down physically. Against Richmond, not as much of that type of game. So what I would say is Arizona obviously has a little bit of advantage playing Richmond first, then going to Harrisburg.
So the foul was whistled against Yambi. So here's an opportunity now as Morrison gets the free kick for Arizona, gets the quick restart going. It's handled now by Gallego. And here is Tashuma for Arizona. Again, Arizona coming off a 2-1 win a week ago. And I believe, Mark, you said they're unbeaten in their last 3?
Yeah. After the 4-0 drubbing in the first game against Oklahoma City, they've won 2-1 twice, and then they tied the Galaxy 1-1.
Here's an opportunity with the ball. And a shot on goal, and Willis handles that easily. Schwartzendruber, number 3, as you can see there. And Willis will roll it out to Yambi to get the restart going for Richmond.
And Schwartzendruber's a guy that's been around a few years. I believe he played for Dayton last year.
Played for Dayton last year. He also had a little run-in with Harrisburg as well for a little bit of time. So he's been around the league, and he certainly knows how to score some goals. And, you know, for Arizona, they've had a couple guys on the score sheet and a couple guys getting assists and supplying it as well. There's no real main threat as far as that's concerned, but more so it's kind of spread throughout the entire team.
So here's Richmond now. Losing possession as Arizona picks it up. And they play it wide over to 23 Morrison, and he quickly tried to play it ahead, but Richmond gets the turnover. And here's Alex Lee down on the near side. Lee looking for a strong cross and gets a strong cross. And it's finally tracked down on the far side now. And here's Callahan near midfield for the Kickers. Here's Vercoloni. Off to George Davis IV. Davis drops it back to Yambi as Richmond tries to build on the offense. Callahan and Yambi play a little kickball together. Here's the cross, and Delicott threatening with some pressure. And Callahan battling for the ball. Now Richmond regains possession. Shanowski's got all kinds of time, now rolls it over to Lee, and he'll play it all the way back to the goalkeeper, Willis.
What I'm seeing here from the Richmond Kickers in the early going, a little bit different than the Rochester game that they recently played, is there's a lot more movement up top, a little bit more shuffling, trying to confuse the defenders as far as where they're going, and also a little more energy, and this must be something that Lee Calishaw worked on throughout the week. It was very difficult for Richmond to break down Rochester, and Lee Calishaw probably assuming.
Here's an opportunity for Arizona, getting a shot, and drilling that one wide was Okafor. Sorry, Ryan, didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, certainly not. That's an important piece of play there, and the Richmond Kickers giving away an easy ball there. Needless possession given away, and that's how Arizona's looking to counter. I mean, that was exactly what Bob Lilly did for Rochester, was sit back a little bit. Arizona's not doing that as much, but an easy giveaway such as that can cost you big time.
There's Delicott now settling the ball down after the kick, and a little bit too far ahead. Nice tackle that time and taking the ball away. I believe that was number 6, Del Piccolo, that came up with that nice steal. And here's Okafor on the run for Arizona on the near side. Drops it off. And here is number 6, Del Piccolo. And again, here's Okafor. He's got help with number 23, Morrison. Here's Okafor and his pass, and reading it all the way was Spitz, but he was held up by Morrison, who impeded his traffic and was able to come up and maintain possession for Arizona. Nice job by Shea Spitz to read that play, but unfortunately couldn't make anything of it. There's Antonuras. And Richmond Yambi tracking it and playing it back to Willis in goal. And Arizona.
Richmond's been a little sloppy with the ball the last 5 minutes. I think Arizona's done a good job of getting numbers behind the ball, kind of waiting for Richmond to make a mistake like they did a few moments ago, and they're doing a good job of knocking the ball around and making the game slow, which I think is what Arizona's intention is.
Here's the ball dropped off to number 3, Schwartzendruber. Now Okafor battling Spitz. And Martin plays it over to George Davis IV. And he nearly lost possession, but Yambi saved him. Now here comes Taylor Kemp. Kemp looking for a hole in the Arizona defense, but well defended, and Yambi will track it down. He's got Shinosky on the far side, or on the near side, I should say. Now Callahan is going to send it over to him. Shinosky will settle. Plays it ahead, drop right back to Shinosky. We're scoreless here in Richmond at City Stadium. There's a nice ball for Delicott, trying to run under it, and got a whistle.
That was a good searching ball, though, from Shinosky. I think that was pretty good. I mean, you got Deli, who's a guy who's won more plays in the air, I think, than anybody made in the history of USL. And I like that kind of play because it's going to be harder to play through the midfield because Arizona does have 10 guys behind the ball. So if you can get a good ball over the top and have Deli win that, I think that's what Richmond's going to have to do tonight.
Certainly, and it looks as though Lee Calishaw kind of changed that game plan. Last week against Rochester, he had George Davis IV starting up top, not necessarily an out-and-out target type of forward. With Matthew Delicott up there, you have kind of a direct plan. Route one down the middle if you want, off of his head, off of his chest to kind of collect it. So you've got a different sort of game plan as far as we're going to play a little bit of possession, but we're also going to look to go long here and there and stretch the defense.
Here's Shinosky playing it ahead. Colin Martin's able to maintain possession for the Kickers. Now the ball played back. Shinosky switching it to the middle of the field for Yambi on the Richmond half of midfield. Yambi playing it ahead to Taylor Kemp. Kemp taking a look. Strong ball into the box, and that was headed away. It will be a throw-in if it goes over the sideline, and it does. It'll be a throw-in for the Kickers. Good, strong play by Kemp, putting it into the box. Here's Spitz. And now Spitz is going to let Alex Lee take the throw in. It's like Lee wants to have a strong throw into the middle of the box, and he does. And Delicott couldn't flick it. Ooh, kind of a high kick in the box area, no call. Here's Martin, Colin Martin, dropping it back to Callahan. Rolls it over, quick into the middle, but right to Arizona, as Alex Lee's cross went right to the Arizona player. So now the Arizona United in possession. No score here at City Stadium. And if I'm not mistaken, I was looking at the schedule, this might be the last Friday night contest this season for Richmond. I know it's the last one for a long time, but I think it might be the last one for the season. I could be wrong.
Let me consult the schedule.
Here's Callahan dropping it back to Shinosky, and he taps it over to Lee. And George Davis IV went down looking for a foul, no call. Here's Okafor on the attack for Arizona. Oh, nice job that time, stabbing that one away by Davis. But his pass ahead didn't have enough juice.
And that was a good opportunity for Richmond because they had 4-on-4.
Yeah.
And it was just a bad turnover there in midfield. That's how Richmond's going to break this down. They've got to use 1 and 2 touch and not hold the ball for long periods of time.
Ball played back in the back to Arizona. Here is Del Piccolo. Off to Morrison. Arizona possessing their midfield now. Callahan flicks it, and George Davis IV neatly plays it back to Shinosky. Over to Yambi.
Yeah, it's the last one. It's the last Friday, Mike.
Thank you.
See, I'm doing my research here during the game.
That's
You
right.
like that.
That's right.
That's a good ball.
Ball flicked on to George Davis IV, trying to back through and did to Lee, and Lee taken down in the box.
He is calling a penalty on that. Oh.
It looks as though what he wound up calling was just a deflection off of Alex Lee, and it's just going to be a goal kick there.
It looked like he was pointing to the spot.
It did, it did a little bit. But you know what? Sometimes the referees have a flair for the penalty where it's a longer whistle, and I keep pointing your arm there. But it was definitely a shout for a penalty. You know, whether or not, I'm not sure which defender was it, whether it was Daniel Antunes wound up getting a touch on that or not a touch on that. Not too sure, but it was definitely one of those tackles that if he doesn't get any of the ball, it's a definite penalty.
Yeah, had he called the penalty, I honestly would not have I don't think it would have been a good call.
Another long ball. Here's a shot. Oh, and Newton has to come up with a terrific save off of Spitz.
Well, an equally great touch from Shea Spitz, but a great save from Newton as well.
So a couple of opportunities here in the last couple of moments. Yambi is able to slide and knock that pass attempt away. Here's Colin Martin. Takes a bump, still maintains possession. Here's Vercoloni rolling it over to Kemp. Kemp with another cross into the box. And now Tunez. Richmond fans wanted a handball, I believe.
No, I think they wanted a corner.
Oh, they're saying the ball went over. They thought the ball went over the end line.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it was a close call there.
So here is Balladur. Had possession momentarily. And Tashuma loses it. And here comes Okafor. Yambi watching him. Vercoloni trying to get the double team and does, and it's going to result in a corner kick for Arizona, which I believe is going to be our first corner of the night.
And that was really good defense from Yambi there. Okafor had a head of steam. Looked like, oh, there's the replay there. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Here it is again. Watch this nice touch right here, and then, boy, he cracked it.
Yeah, fantastic touch by Shea Spitz. And that, that's the thing. That's what's starting to stretch Arizona a little bit is that long ball over top. And it can't just be Matthew Delicott. He's not the quickest guy out there to be able to get in behind. It's the runners off of him. It's Shea Spitz. It's George Davis IV. It's Colin Martin. And that's what's going to break Arizona down.
Here's the corner kick for Arizona.
Looks like Okafor's coming off for a minute to get some treatment. I don't know if he cramped up down there.
There's the corner, and it's headed away by Yambi. It'll be a second straight corner.
Yambi heads it out over the end line. It'll be another corner kick.
And as we're progressing through this first half here, I'm starting to realize more and more of what Arizona's starting to do. They're very clean technically in possession with the ball. They don't really give it away that cheaply, and they play the high percentage passes. And what they're trying to do is manage the game.
There's a kick again, and it's flicked on, and that'll be tracked down. I believe it's going to be a Richmond throw-in as Shinowski lets it go over the sideline.
Arizona's using their possession to manage this game, to kind of control the game and see if they can do that. And a lot of times possession does help do that, but you know what? Possession isn't everything within a game.
I believe Callahan was whistled for a handball.
And Okafor is on the sideline. He dropped a contact lens. That's why he had to come out there.
That'll make it a little difficult.
Yeah, absolutely.
So here's an opportunity now about the 25-yard mark or so for Arizona.
Good opportunity here for Arizona.
As number 23, Morrison, is over the ball along with Castle. So let's see what they decide to do, and it'll be put into the box, and that one is still alive and then banged off of Delicott.
Wow, anytime a ball bounces inside your penalty area at the 8-10 yard mark area, that you really don't want that, Ryan.
Certainly.
And Tunez was the one that got the kick that hit the backside of Delicott.
Now, something like that, I'm sorry, Michael, I keep stepping on you tonight. Now, Ryan, is something like that, is that something Willis should come out and be more aggressive with?
No, definitely not. That's a low ball. It was an extremely great ball.
There's an opportunity. Ball flicked on, excuse me, by Tashuma. And it goes over the bar. It'll be a goal kick for Willis and Richmond.
Mark, a ball like that is something that the defenders have to deal with. But that's an extremely good ball. That's a ball that puts the defenders in an uncomfortable position where they're facing their own net, and it's very difficult to clear that ball out. But it's something that has to be done in order to prevent from goals.
So Willis with the with the goal kick. Delicott flicks it ahead, and Arizona's Okafor couldn't handle the ball. And now Arizona gets possession. Here they come on the run. Looking for some help. Ball crossed in the middle, deflected off of Vercoloni, and now Callahan scoops it up. Here comes Mike Callahan on the run. Crossing midfield, dropping it off on the far side to Kemp. Takes a look. Nice ball. Ooh, just over the foot of Delicott. And Deli, nice hustle by Deli. Here's George Davis IV. Right back to Delicott. And he tried to dribble it. I thought he had an opportunity to crank one there and decided not to. But it will be a corner kick for Richmond.
And I tell you what, that was great hustle from Deli to keep that ball and win it, to keep the play alive there for Richmond. That was really, really nice. You know, we make jokes about Deli's age, but, man, he sure doesn't play his age, does he?
Yes.
So it was really great hustle to keep that alive in Richmond. And that, that was a good call. It was a corner kick. It wasn't a penalty.
Right. First corner kick of the night for Richmond, and it curls in. It's punched away by Newton. And the ball is, and there's an offsides. I was waiting for the flag. So a goal kick for Arizona.
Tough one from Newton there. I thought he had a chance to catch that instead of punching it away. He didn't, and when he did punch it, it didn't go out as far as you want it to. So
look at some of the Richmond fans cheering on their Kickers. Right now involved in a scoreless draw.
The action's picked up, I think, in the last 10 minutes, though, Mike. I
Without
thought
doubt,
the first 10 were a little slow, and I think both teams are doing a job of trying to get numbers forward and getting to the attack a little bit.
Here's Arizona in possession. Here's Okafor. Gets a return pass, and he'll have to settle it. Get some pressure from Colin Martin.
And I don't think Richmond coach Lee Kalishaw is very happy with his team right now because he just told the entire bench to go start warming up.
Dillon for Arizona was under some pressure as he got his pass away. And a whistle and a foul.
And Mark, I think the way that Lee Kalishaw sees it at this point in time is, hey, we've had a couple opportunities to score. We should be 1-0 up. And I think that's something that he's not content with at this point, especially being 20 minutes into a game, wanting to finish this team, Arizona, off pretty early to get his players off, to get some of the players off who've played a decent amount of minutes so far this season, and also to prevent some injury in this heat.
So Arizona now with another free kick opportunity. You see the discussion. Del Piccolo is one of those, and now the ball is placed in. And Shinoski gets a foot on it. Okafor and Yambi battling. Okafor took an elbow to the face. And he is down. And right away they wave on the trainer.
And it's fortunate so far that the Kickers, their inability to deal with the balls, nice, not even whipped in balls. It's just kind of a soft floated ball, clipped the ball into the box. That's the second time that they've been unable to deal with that, and they're actually pretty fortunate at this point in time that something hasn't come of that, at least a shot on goal or an attempt near goal. But it's something that they've got to make sure that they continue to solve, not just throughout the course of the season, but also this game as well.
USLSoccer.com. That's where you can get all your scores, stats, news, and more exclusively on USLProSoccer.com.
And after that last sequence, as they were walking up the field, Yambi and Paolo Del Piccolo were really exchanging words. They were nose to nose, and the referee had to come over and tell them to separate. So that could be an interesting matchup to watch the rest of the evening.
There's Delicott trying to flick it on, but it's Arizona kicking it out of play. It'll be a throw-in for Taylor Kemp, and Richmond quickly gets the restart going with Callahan. Callahan back to Kemp. We're scoreless here at City Stadium in Richmond, Virginia. Mike Neville, Mark Bushman, and Ryan Hines along with you. Here's Callahan weaving away from Dillon's pressure, but then kicking it out of play. So a throw in for Arizona. Now, I don't know if Lee's going to bring all these guys in at one time. Probably not. But there are some coaches that sometimes it's a gutsy move. And I'm thinking more of like a basketball coach when you have only 5 players as opposed to 11. But there are times when coaches I know would like to make that wholesale change. I like to say it's not going to happen, I don't think, tonight. But
well, I think what happens is I think the players on the field see that the guys are warming up. And it's a not so subtle message that they need to step up their game a little bit.
Here's Yambi rolling it back to Willis. And the ball played back into the midfield.
That's a great play from Lee to open up the pressure a little bit.
And George Davis the fourth. He came together with Valandez, but now Spitz and so Valandez is going to get a red card.
Great red card.
So Bradley Ballandez has a short night here in Richmond.
I cannot wait to see the replay of that because
I think anytime that you go to put your head together with another player, you're taking a risk regardless of what happens. And I don't think for him, I don't think that's something that's extremely smart. Regardless of Shea Spitz and how he reacts to that, you know what you're doing when you put your head against another player.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And he was wrong in the first place.
Yeah.
He was probably going to at least get a verbal, if not a yellow, for delaying the restart there. But that is not something you can do on the road. And all of a sudden, the tactics for both teams has just changed tremendously.
Right. Here it is, the Jambi. And then it's going to be Callahan getting up to Spitz. And right here, excuse me, I guess it was Colin Martin.
Well, we'll see that in just a second. We'll see the
And I think that was the replay for what Arizona was actually calling there, a handball on Yambi slide tackling.
There's a ball, and that one is headed away. Yambi's going to let it roll over the end line for a corner kick. Second one for the Kickers.
Both of these teams have had a lot of trouble on these free kicks or direct free kicks where it's something where it's just a floated ball into the box. They're not able to deal with it as far as an aerial clearance.
And they go with the short corner now. There's Colin Martin. And his cross is Yambi's going to try to keep it in play, and looks like he'll have no problem doing so. There's Taylor Kemp into the box. There's a shot just over the bar from Shea Spitz. He's been very dangerous in this first part of this game.
He's been very active. He's had 2 good shots, and he's been responsible for drawing a red card. So
here we go. Here it is. There's the push, and right there. And that's going to.
Spitz might have embellished
a
little bit there. But as Ryan said, you can't go nose to nose with a guy. You can't bring your guys. You can't push the guy like that. Now, Spitz could have gotten a yellow card for the initial shot.
Right.
But you cannot retaliate, and that's just not a smart play.
And it looked as though as Ballandez, what really started to wind it up was the fact that he got called a foul, kicked the ball into Shea Spitz's shins a little bit. That's why Shea had an opportunity then to push him. And I think it was just kind of a little back and forth, and you don't expect something like that, whether it is a dive, whether it's not a dive, whether Ballandez actually did something else as well, extracurricular. Who knows? But you don't expect that this early in a game. Maybe when tempers flare after halftime, something to that extent. But really, we're not even that far into the game for tempers to start flaring.
No, there've only been a couple of fouls. Like I said, Yambi and Del Piccolo had that's a great ball.
And it looks like it's tracked down by Spitz into the middle. Deli got a head on it. Here comes Callahan trying to keep it in play.
That was a great ball from Colin Martin.
Yes.
It was, and it was a great run by Shea Spitz as well. It threw Matt Castle off a little bit. It looked like Colin Martin was going to go short into Shea Spitz's feet. Matt Castle started to bite on that, which left the back door open for Shea Spitz. And probably a wrong decision from George Davis IV to try to bring that down off his chest instead of possibly heading that back post.
There's the goal kick for Newton. You know, looking at that replay, I thought there was an actual headbutt from Ballandez, but it appeared that he never got his head. But like I say, when you make that initial reaction, that initial attempt, that's going to draw the ire of the official. And his reaction was he just nonchalantly said, "Okay, I've been tossed to you."
I think he knew it. I think he knew it. As soon as you bring heads together and somebody goes to the ground, I think you know right at that moment that it's a red card. And there's issues with players at times, you know, whether or not Shea Spitz dove, and I'm not going to get into that. But the fact of if he anticipated something to come, sure, he's entitled to get out of the way of that.
Sure, absolutely.
And Delicott, they quickly had 2 Arizona defenders around him. Here's Tishuma losing possession. And you would expect now where Richmond would be able to get all kinds of pressure, and we're starting to see that develop. The Kickers in the last couple of minutes have had some opportunities here. Here's Martin's ball, headed in and away by Spitz.
Now let's do some armchair coaching here, Ryan. If you're Lee Kalishaw and you look at what Arizona's doing, and they are going to be sitting back, obviously, it looks like they're going to play a 4-4-1. Kind of looks along that lines. Are you considering making a change and maybe sliding another midfielder up and go 3-5-2 to put more pressure on that defense?
It's difficult, to be fair, because, you know, you said it exactly. Arizona's going to sit back. They're going to do what Rochester did last week. You know, not only is Ballandez out of this game, and they're down to 10 men for this game, he's out of tomorrow's game as well, and you've got limited players traveling on the road. You've got 18 players that you can put on the roster, maybe 19 if you've brought an extra player.
Colin Martin and Newton. Delicott got a head on it as Newton was climbing his back.
Now, where Arizona has been exposed is on the crosses. Little floated balls into the box, and that was a perfect example. Matthew Delicott had an opportunity there. George Davis IV, maybe about 5 minutes ago as well. What I would actually do is look to put somebody on the touchline all the way on the wings. Try to stretch this Arizona defense and whip in crosses. It seems to be their weakness at this point in time. Putting too many men forward also creates a problem and allows Arizona to sit back and absorb the pressure. And now you've got too many guys in one space.
Willis had to be aggressive out of the goal to clear that one.
Now, I will tell you as well, when you go down a man, you've got more incentive to work harder to make up for that person. And there's, it's almost not even reverse psychology, but it's one of those things that you realize you've got to put in extra work because you're down a player. And teams sometimes play better a man down, as odd as that sounds.
Ball over the sideline, throw in for the Kickers. Again, scoreless here at City Stadium. Alex Lee with the throw in to Vercoloni, or to Colin Martin, excuse me. And over to the far side for Kemp, and now Vercoloni will play it back to Yambi. Yambi to Shinoski. Richmond with a little possession game going on here. Shinoski off to Yambi. Now on the far side, Kemp off to Vercoloni. Trying to hook up, and then offsides. The flag goes up.
Offside.
Trying to hook up with Shea Spitz.
Shea Spitz was a good option for Lee Kalishaw tonight. He's gotten in behind a couple times, and to say nobody else really has done that. And that's something that's going to open up this Arizona defense. And for a winger, for Shea Spitz, for George Davis IV, that's your responsibility. How many times have you gotten in behind the defenders? How many times have you made them feel uncomfortable?
I was getting ready to say, Ryan, I think the pairing of Delicott and Spitz has been pretty good. They haven't scored yet, but there's been probably 4 or 5 opportunities between the two of them. I think they're working pretty well off of each other.
Certainly.
The ball was flicked on, and now Shinoski had it taken off his foot by Okafor, and they're whistling Shinoski with the foul.
Just at the edge of the box against Richmond, sets up a free kick.
I actually thought that should have been just let him play.
I don't think any of the Kickers fans next to us over here really agreed with that call. Kind of thought it was a little soft.
So number 7 is down, and that is Okafor. And now the official is getting some consultation from the lawyers out on the field.
I think one of the things you also have to watch out for with Richmond is, and I think it's any team, if you're up a man and there's any type of call that might be or a foul that might be considered a bit rough, there is a possibility that the referee might look to even things up. If I made this call against this team earlier, I've got to look to do that to be consistent. So Richmond has to be a little wary as well, as going in recklessly into tackles and challenges.
So again, they're tending to Okafor. Now he gets a hand up from the trainer. Kickers are right back in action next week, as a matter of fact, on a Wednesday night at Sportsbackers Stadium. They'll take on RVAFC in the U.S. Open Cup. Be a little intensity in that game.
Yeah, little Richmond derby. The RVA won the NPSL championship last year in their first year, coached by Grover Gibson, and it's a very, very good team. I think it's going to be a great game. I know the fans are really looking forward to it for both clubs. And you will be calling that game, Mike Neville.
Yes, I've been contacted by U.S. Soccer, and I'm very excited to be a part of that broadcast team.
Me. Well, I guess they didn't want me.
You didn't pay him enough. Here's Castle just outside the box. And the cross in and punched away by Willis.
Really good play by Willis. There was an Arizona player just sitting right there to knock that in.
Great anticipation by Willis and good aggressive play off his line. That's about what probably the third free kick that Arizona's had within 30 yards of the goal.
And that one was actually hit with a little bit of venom compared to what they've hit it with before. Usually it's just a little lofted ball, and the Kickers have little bit of problems with that.
50-50 ball is battled for, and there's a shot, and it goes wide. Willis with the goal kick. After that U.S. Open Cup game, the Kickers will return to action on the road on May 16th, which is a week from tonight, in Oklahoma City. They've got a back-to-back. They've got a Friday-Sunday matchup. Oklahoma City and then Chicago.
Oklahoma City, a new franchise for USL Pro this year. And they have a local player from VCU, Mr. Nate Schiffman, who I've been able to see for a couple of years now. Very, very good player, and he's doing quite well at Oklahoma City.
Next home contest is set for Saturday, the 24th. It'll be Charlotte, the team that knocked them out of the playoffs a year ago, making an appearance here at City Stadium. So there's your schedule. And Spitz. He's battling to get the possession back. And it'll be a throw in. They Kalashal off the Richmond bench. Not sure who he's angry at, but he was making a gesture towards somebody.
Speaking of which, I had an opportunity to speak to Lee before the game, and he wanted me to wish his parents. He said his parents would be watching the game at home over in England at 12 a.m. in the morning for them. He didn't say this, but we wanted to wish his mother a happy Mother's Day this Sunday.
Exactly. Exactly.
Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. Kalashal.
That's right. Happy Mother's Day, not only to Mrs. Kalashal, but all the mothers will be celebrating on Sunday.
And that was another silly turnover for Richmond. You know, Arizona is sitting back a little bit, and Richmond's got some. They've got some room to work, and they're just kind of passing the ball into touch needlessly.
And to be fair, I didn't think Arizona really sat back in the beginning of this game, knowing that they have a game tomorrow night. However, obviously going down one man, down to 10, you're going to sit back.
Yep.
And that's what's created the Richmond Kickers' problems last weekend, was when a team sat back.
And if you're just joining us, one of the Arizona players was presented a red card. That was Balandez after a little skirmish with Spitz. So Arizona playing a man down here. And they'll have to do that the remainder of the game.
Nice ball.
There is number 23, Morrison, being challenged by Spitz. Morrison off to Dillon. Now he drops it back. And Dillon quickly touches it over to Gallego. As Arizona now just patiently knocking it around. Del Piccolo, his pass attempt went off a kicker.
And Del Piccolo's an interesting type of player. He actually, that's quite a poor pass, but Del Piccolo is actually an interesting player. He played for Eintracht Frankfurt reserve team over in Germany. So he's actually quite an interesting player, and I know obviously the German side of things is a little bit different than the American side of things as far as playing. A little bit more physical, a little technical as well. But he's a player who's probably one of Arizona's best players, especially with going down to 10 men. He's going to help facilitate everything and also slow the pace of this game down to something that 10 men can actually handle, where the Richmond Kickers are going to try to amp that game up as much as possible and tire out these 10 players.
There's Kemp, nice ball to Martin. He tries to slide one to Deli. Over
Got
to George.
Lee on the overlap there.
I don't know if he saw him. And the ball will be settled by Shinosky. Off to George Davis the fourth. Good challenge that time from number 6, Del Piccolo. And Del Piccolo not happy with the takedown. And he's going to talk to the referee about it. I do not envy the jobs of the officials in any sport.
They are always wrong.
That's right.
That's how it's looked at by the fans. Somebody's
Exactly.
always saying they're wrong.
Unless it's a call for the home team, then they're all right. And if it's wrong, then you have thousands of referees letting you know about it. There's Morrison hitting the free kick. challenge, and Kemp plays it ahead. There's a challenge, and it's played back to Newton in goal. He neatly has a short pass to Gallego. And Callahan off to George Davis IV, back to Vercoloni. Drops it off to Spitz, off to Kemp.
Need a good cross in here.
That one's headed away on the diving header. There's Colin Martin. Martin was able to get away from Morrison. Still dancing with it. Pushes it over to Kemp. Kemp trying to get across. It was blocked out. It'll be a corner kick for Richmond.
There's some nice footwork by Colin Martin in there. Sometimes I think he maybe dances with it a little bit too much, but he was able to keep possession. He was able to find Kemp out wide, and as Ryan said, that's where Richmond's been the most dangerous, and they wind up getting a corner kick out of this.
Visit the USL Pro fan page on Facebook at facebook.com/USL Pro. There's George Davis IV, and the corner is cleared away easily by Arizona. Willis way out of goal. And just touch it ahead to Alex Lee. Lee playing it wide. Yambi is still up in the offensive section. Drops it back. There's Vercoloni taking a look, chips it, and it was headed by Gallego. And then Tishuma sends it out to midfield. Here's Lee getting some pressure. And nice job of keeping that ball in. I thought that one was going to scoot over the sideline. I think it was George Davis IV who's in possession now. Terrific play. Here's Shinosky. First half winding down. Of the scoreless matchup. There's Lee. Good ball to Martin. Martin around one defender. Now he's hemmed in the corner. And he's still got a semi-cross in, but it deflected off an Arizona player, and they just wasted an opportunity there by rushing it and kicking it over the sideline.
And we have two balls in play right now, both.
Maybe that's the way we should play this game. So there's an opportunity, the turnover. Here's Vercoloni.
I can tell you right now, Michael Del Russo is furious. The fact that they allowed play to continue with the two ball there. They just got rid of the one, and Richmond maintained possession in Oklahoma City's third of the field.
George Davis IV was trying to get the header, but he was denied after Castle defended him well. Here's Kemp with a cross into the middle. And now Lee will settle for Richmond as they have now tilted the field their way. Here's a shot from Martin, deflected by, and then flicked down. Oh, and it's off the bar. We've got I guess it's an offside.
It's an offside on Delhi.
And a great shot from Colin Martin, and then all Newton could really do is try to take the sting out of it, but unfortunately he pushed it right in the path, right down the center. He's got to push that off to the side.
Yeah.
But you can see when Richmond starts to open up the Arizona defenses, long shots that forces them to have to come out to defend or dropping the ball in behind.
So Evan Newton with a nice stop. I thought he could have caught it, but he, like you say, Ryan, I guess it was coming. That was a fastball from Colin Martin, and he did all he could to slow it down.
Certainly, he almost punched it right back in the direction it came from, rather than just pushing it out wide, pushing it wide of his post or anything to that extent.
So for another free kick opportunity here for Arizona. Again, this is about around the 35-yard mark or so. As Morrison looking to tee it up. And that kick is sent into the box. And George Davis IV clears it away. Right to Arizona. Castle was able to send it over to Tashima. Up ahead. Good ball. Good job of coming back and by Taylor Kemp to fill that vacant spot, and was able to knock it out of play. A little dangerous opportunity there for Arizona.
if we're coming up on the stoppage time, I'm thinking we're probably going to have like maybe 2 minutes. And if you're Arizona, you got to be fairly happy.
Sure.
Going into halftime, 0-0 down. Looks like we're going to have 3 minutes of stoppage time. You're down a man. You've given up several opportunities for Richmond. They haven't been able to put it in. So, again, if you're Arizona, you can compose yourself at halftime. Maybe Coach De La Rosa makes a sub or two to maybe go even a little bit more defensive. But, yeah, I mean, if you're Kalishaw at halftime, Ryan, what are you telling your players?
I know Lee's going to be a bit frustrated, for sure. And you obviously saw it when he had a bunch of these guys go and warm up 20 minutes into the game. So he's going to be extremely frustrated, and it's kind of a question at that point. It's a puzzle. How do you break this team down? It's similar to what happened last week. And as much as Lee may be frustrated and want to put himself on because he knows what to do, it's very hard to also now go ahead and explain and make sure each player plays the game plan to a T. For me, and I'm assuming what his game plan is going to be, is get the ball moving as quickly as possible. Expose where that extra man should be or that 11th player on Arizona would be. The spaces that are going to be available is when you do quick switches. Quick 30, 40, 50-yard balls across the field, or even quick 1-2 touch type of passing where you're interchanging quite a lot and you're getting a lot of different people confused on Arizona as far as where the Richmond Kickers player is that should be in that position.
So do you think Richmond's just maybe playing a little bit too slow at times?
To be honest, it's certainly not as slow as they played against Rochester, but it's still not quick enough to expose the deficiencies of where the red-carded player should be and would be.
And there's a handball whistled against Arizona.
That's a deliberate handball. I'm surprised he didn't get a yellow card for that. Lee Kalishaw is furious with that one too. Yeah, you stick up your hand like that. That's got to be a yellow card.
That was Del Piccolo that was able to stop the play with the handball. There's Kemp playing it back to Yambi at midfield. Winding down this first half, scoreless. And if you remember at the beginning of this game, less than 30 seconds in, Richmond had a golden opportunity. And Shea Spitz shot it just wide.
That's an opportunity for Arizona here at the end of the half.
Yep. And there's a shot, and it's wide. That was Tishuma. Willis will handle the goal kick. And then Richmond's had a couple of opportunities. Arizona's had, I think, maybe one. But I think if you look at the overall offensive opportunities, I think it favors Richmond.
Oh, yeah, I think Richmond's easily had a half dozen chances where they could have scored. And like I said, Arizona maybe two at most. And Newton's come up with a couple of decent saves, pretty good saves, for Arizona.
There's Okafor, and the trip is whistled against Vercoloni. And Okafor is furious, to say the least. That's putting it mildly.
A lot of John in these last several minutes here from Arizona. I think they're a little frustrated that obviously, like I said, they were on the victim of the red card there from their own player's fault. But I think they're looking for, hey, listen, let's even this out a little bit. Maybe Richmond should have a couple of guys with yellow cards. And I won't dispute that, honestly.
Yeah. I think that was the frustration there for Okafor. Nothing was said to Vercoloni on the trip, so I think he would have liked to have at least seen a little referee consultation. There's Okafor. Off to Del Piccolo. Good ball. There's an opportunity. And a shot blocked by Vercoloni. And that's going to bring an end to the first half. Dangerous opportunity that time from Schwartzendruber. So a scoreless first half. And again, the offensive opportunity certainly belonged to Richmond. And again, Arizona down a man. I would think, guys, going in, that they're probably pretty happy right now at 0-0 being a man down.
Well, like I said, I think, they're content. I don't necessarily know that they're happy, Mike, but it was a bend but not break kind of defense. They did give up several opportunities. Newton had a couple of really good saves for Arizona. So they go in, they get the break that they need, maybe get a little bit more organized. Maybe Coach De La Rosa makes a sub or two that changes things up a little bit. But if you're Arizona, you're happy. If you're Richmond, as Ryan said just a minute or two ago, might be a little frustrated.
Certainly, and you look at Arizona, and my interpretation of their game plan was take the sting out of the game a little bit. This was when they had 11 guys on the field.
Right.
It quickly changes when you have 10 men on the field and you get that red card. Their game plan is let's get out of here with a tie at best.
Exactly.
Let's get out of here with a tie. Let's get out of here with a point, and let's conserve some of our energy against Harrisburg. If we can steal one, we'll certainly do that.
So it's 0-0 at the half. You're watching Richmond Kickers soccer on YouTube. Don't forget, fans, that you can still sign up for the 2014 series of Richmond Kickers Youth Soccer camps all summer long. The soccer camp is a great opportunity for boys and girls to develop their overall playing ability and their love of the sport. Campers will receive unparalleled coaching and instruction from the Kickers players, coaches, and staff in an enjoyable, friendly environment. Camps range from individual to team camps, as well as specialized training in finishing, goalkeeping, and more. Learn more about the camps and how to sign up by logging on to their website at www.richmondkickers.com. The broadcast of this match is authorized by the Richmond Kickers. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or other use of any image, sound, account, or description without the express written permission of the club is strictly prohibited. Tonight's match was produced for the Kickers by Tourbeau Sports Group, the official video production company of the Kickers. At this time, we would like to take a brief moment to thank some of our major sponsors for the 2014 season, including the main jersey sponsor, Health Diagnostic Laboratory Incorporated, as well as YOGG, the official club's marketing partner. To learn more about all the sponsors for the Kickers, log on to their club's website, and that is www.richmondkickers.com. We'd also like to thank the official apparel provider, Adidas, a sponsor of the Richmond Kickers. Be sure to grab your official Kickers merchandise online or right here at City Stadium on game days. Our next broadcast is coming up on Saturday, May the 24th, when the Kickers are right back in action here at home. They'll be taking on the Charlotte Eagles. 7 o'clock kickoff. Watch it live right here on the official Richmond Kickers YouTube channel. It's a scoreless tie, and coming up next, we've got all the highlights from the first half as well as the second half kickoff for you. You're watching Richmond Kickers Soccer on YouTube. And welcome back. City Stadium in Richmond, Virginia, getting ready for the second half of this evening's matchup. The Richmond Kickers and Arizona. And right now it's a scoreless draw as we get set for the second half. Here's some of the highlights. This is the Shane Spitz shot that was denied on a terrific save that time by Newton. And Newton played well. He came up with a couple of big stops. Great job by Spitz on the touch. Here's the red card that was delivered. And not really a headbutt, but the intention, I think, was there.
Yeah, absolutely. And the referee didn't even hesitate to bring out the red card.
Certainly. And you could see the referee there kind of jogging from a distance, knowing he's got to get there before they meet each other.
Right. Look at some of the crowd on hand. You can see some threatening skies, but I think we're going to be all right. Another good turnout here in Richmond at City Stadium with the crowd and a scoreless draw. And you saw some highlights there from Richmond. And I think we both guys will agree that I think Richmond had the run of play, especially after getting the Arizona going a man down. But again, the thing is that you got to finish your opportunities, and right now, Ryan, that's been a problem for Richmond.
It has, you know what? And you look at 30 seconds into the game, you had Shea Spitz, who was inside probably 12 yards and a little wide of an angle, and he's got to score that there, or he's got to square that to somebody. Then you also had a Shea Spitz got in behind, great first touch, and he's got to put that into the back of the net. And you look at that and you say, hey, if they put those away, this is a different type of game. They're kind of in cruise control.
Yep.
If they don't put that away, they're making this game a little bit hard for themselves.
Exactly. And before we get the second half started, I know Mark wants a good friend of ours up in Fredericksburg, Mike Webb, Chancellor High School soccer coach, just celebrated winning his 400th career game. When you think about that, that is one heck of a stat. And congratulations to Mike Webb, the Chancellor High School soccer coach, on achieving that mark.
I'm pretty sure I was on the team where he got his first win, Mike. That tells you how old I am. But listen, we've got two subs going into the game. We talked about him last week. Jason Yeisley is back into the action from almost the first time last week since he got a concussion. He came in. He's coming in for number 4, Luke Vercoloni, so more of an offensive substitution from Lee Kalishaw. And then number 2 for Arizona, Tyler Ruthin has come in for number 8, Matt Castle.
And Tyler's had a lot of experience throughout, not just this league. He played for New York Red Bulls for quite some time. He also played for Harrisburg City Islanders. He played over in Sweden for a little bit, as well as Atlanta Silverbacks. So he's got a lot of experience coming into this game, and I'm not surprised why they put him in.
One thing that did surprise me last week when Yeisley came in, of course, he had that long layoff due to the concussion, but was his aggressiveness. I mean, he was involved in that game-tying goal for the Kickers in that 1-1 draw with Rochester, and I was just really shocked because a lot of times you kind of tiptoe into your first game. Were you guys surprised at how aggressive he was?
Not really. You know what? I mean, he's here for a reason, and if Lee Kalishaw had any doubts or if he had any reservations, Jason Yeisley, about wanting to play, Lee Kalishaw wouldn't put him in.
Right.
And I'm sure he would be very forward about that. Lee Kalishaw has a lot of confidence in him, and obviously Lee Kalishaw kind of shifted to a 4-4-2 at this point with Jason Yeisley and Matthew Delicott up top, 2 big bodies, and the formula was working in the beginning. Serve it to Deli's head on long balls, route one a little bit, see if he can get flick-ons and knockdowns, and Jason Yeisley's up there to do the exact same thing as what's been working for the Kickers with Delicott.
So here's the long kick from Newton, goalkeeper for Arizona.
Let me bring this up real quick, Mike. We didn't make note of it because we didn't know it. On that play where Baladez got the red card, Shea Spitz did get a yellow card on that. So,
okay.
Yep.
There's an opportunity. Drop off in the shot, and it's deflected by Yambi. That was a dangerous opportunity for Arizona as Okafor and also number 6, Del Piccolo, were involved in that. Everybody's kind of holding their collective breath when that went off of Yambi, thinking, is that going to go in the back of the net? Because Willis went down on the initial shot. There's a corner kick for Arizona.
Wind seems to have picked up a little bit. That could be interesting.
There's the corner kick on the way, and sprinting out to try to track down the ball for Richmond is Callahan. He put some pressure, and he did force the turnover. And Yambi's pass went off an Arizona player.
And here we go. Here comes the rain. It's just a sudden downpour of rain. You can tell all of the fans are starting to run for cover, and this is going to change the game a little bit, more so in Richmond's favor because the ball's going to get moving quickly. And that's something that Richmond Kickers, I thought, have needed to do. Move the ball a little bit quicker, a little slicker. Now with that slick, wet surface, that's exactly what's going to help facilitate.
Wow, talk about coming out of nowhere.
Yeah. And the foul was whistled against Ruthven. And there's a look at it right there on our camera. Ooh, it is coming. I'm glad we're inside. I've done many games where I've been outside in this stuff. And
Sitting around electricity,
yeah,
metal bleachers. It's great, Mike, isn't it?
yes, it is. Here's Kemp lining one up, putting it into the box, and Newton tracking that. Ooh, boy,
that's a needless corner. No communication there on Arizona's part.
Morrison, I thought he was going to let it go. It clearly would have went out of play and have been a goal kick, but now it's a great opportunity for Richmond on the corner. I can remember duct taping monitors and praying that the rain would not seep in. Ooh, here's an opportunity, and
that was a flubbed corner there from Davis the fourth, and it was a worm burner, and Newton wasn't able to get a clear read on it. So Richmond's lucky to get another corner here.
Looks like one of my golf shots.
That's no comment.
So here is Spitz with the corner. Hooks that one in. And it is Okafor tracking it down.
You know, and that's not what Shea Spitz is intending to do, is kind of hit that low cross there. But, you know, it's certainly dangerous as well because it's going to skip up off that surface, and it's very, very difficult to read.
There's Jambi. Off now to Yisley.
That's a good ball. Unlucky.
Yep. Now the turnover, and back comes Arizona.
I mean, what you've noticed, Mike, is that all the parents went running for cover, and all the kids are staying out there.
Exactly.
They're playing in this.
Here's an opportunity. Dropped off, and a shot. And in the back of the net. I believe it's George Davis the fourth.
Yes, it was. I believe that was the assist from Colin Martin.
Yep. And just like that, the Kickers have grabbed a 1-0 advantage less than 10 minutes into this second half.
And you know what came into play there as well was the actual rain. It slipped underneath of Newton's hands. He couldn't really get that good of a grip on it. He looked like he tried to pin it against the turf a little bit, and it skipped underneath of him.
Well, these conditions, I can guarantee, being an old goalkeeper myself, you don't like these wet conditions because anything can happen. Like you say, that ball's spraying around, and unfortunately for Newton, that one skipped under him.
Yeah, that's unlucky for Arizona. You know, they've given up some really good opportunities, and the one that kind of came out of nowhere is the one that they give up the goal on. So it's very tough for Arizona. Let's see how they respond now. It's really against them. They're down a man. They're now down a goal. The weather is not ideal, obviously. It's going to be really interesting if Richmond can really put on the pressure, try and get a second goal here and really put this game away.
That's already the 5th goal of this young season for George Davis the fourth.
Well, you know, we talked going into the season with losing Nguyen and Brian Ownby and Stanley Niazamba where the goals were going to come from. I think we've got our answer because there's guys that have had multiple goals, not just Davis.
Yep.
But Deli's got three or four goals, I believe. Colin Martin's got a Kyle Porter's got a few.
Here's the goal again, guys. There's the turnover.
And, of course, the facilitator, obviously Colin Martin as well. I thought this pass was a bit behind George Davis, not really in his run, but George Davis did well to kind of adjust to that ball.
Yep.
And there you see it, Newton not being able. He got his hands on it, and obviously when you get your hands on it as a goalkeeper, you're a bit disappointed in yourself for not pushing that wide of the post. Just snuck in underneath of his hands.
And we have a substitution for Arizona, number 22, London Woodbury, as you said earlier, Ryan, a University of Maryland product. And he came in for number 3, Brandon Schwartzendruber. That tells me that Arizona's really going to try and going to go a little more defensive there.
They're looking for a point out of this one tonight.
Yeah, Schwartzendruber. I think they're saving Schwartzendruber though for tomorrow night as well. Like, as Ryan and I have said a couple of times, it's going to be really tough to go up to Harrisburg last night.
Where did this rain come from? All of a sudden, it just opened up.
Well, the weather report said it wasn't supposed to rain, which means it was going to rain. So, you know how that mid-Atlantic weather is.
And you folks involved with the National Weather Service, direct all your comments to Mr. Mark Bushman. Mike Neville, Mark Bushman, and Ryan Hines along with you. 1-0, Kickers on top. And here's an opportunity for Woodbury. He drops it back now to Ruthven. As Arizona possessing. Here's Dillon. Back to Ruthven. He quickly touches it near midfield. Long ball's played. You can see how the rain is just Yambi being pushed and shoved by Del Piccolo. Nice little heel pass that time. Nice little dancing away by Kemp, and Taylor Kemp I thought he kept it in play.
Now, I'll tell you guys, when I used to play here and throughout my entire career, I never used to remember if it rained or didn't rain. But on nights like this, you know when it rains because you can't see properly. It's weighing down your clothes. It's just most of the times throughout games, if it was in the 60th minute, rained for 10 minutes and then dissipated, I had no idea.
Uh-oh. Newton way out of goal and was able to poke that one away. Here's George Davis IV now, dropping it off. Here's Spitz, off to Callahan.
That slowed up just a little bit, but
Yep.
I think we might have this for the rest of the game.
Here's Martin now. Good run on by Yaisley and kept it in play. Arizona was looking for a goal kick. Assistant referee says play on.
We have had some massive downpours here previously in Richmond for some of these games. I remember an Open Cup game against Colorado Rapids about 10 years ago. 3-hour rain delay. That was...
Well, hopefully we won't have that tonight.
And this field actually does a very, very good job of draining as well, which, some places throughout the country you're going to have just absolute puddles in the corners or certain places like that.
There's a quick pass over to Kemp on the near side. I believe, I was going to say Callahan's got the captain's armband on now with Vercoloni being on the bench. That ball was shouldered down. Arizona looking for a handball and no call. And Ryan, how is that determined as far, like I say, Vercoloni came out at the beginning of the game as the captain. He's on the bench now, so they obviously have to have another, delegate somebody as another captain. Is that already set in stone as far as who's going to be the captain?
It's honestly whoever the captain sees as fit, whoever the captain sees as a leader on the field. Never been in that position, though, Mike. Thanks for asking. I was always one of the soldiers out there.
Yeah, I didn't think you made lieutenant. So,
but usually it is, it's kind of an unsaid as far as who the vice captain is.
So here's Kemp. Off to Colin Martin. He's picked up an assist on the goal so far by George Davis IV, and that ball almost. Here's Spitz settling it. Off to George Davis IV.
That's a
good ball to Kemp. Taylor Kemp inside the box, chips it. Couldn't quite get enough air under it to get it over the defender's head. Here's Woodbury on the run for Arizona.
Yeah, and you wonder if Taylor Kemp could have just slid that across to Matthew Delicott instead. What he was trying to do was just dink it over the defender a little bit, just out of reach of both the goalkeeper and the defender, and just kind of miscued that a bit.
Good anticipation this time by Lee.
And just like that, looks like the rain is pretty much stopped.
Here's Okafor. Dropping it off to Dillon.
And this is one of those pitches that I've actually asked, and I've wanted Lee Calishall to have watered before the game. It's such a nice green pitch that it rolls across it, but at times when it's dry throughout the summer, it just kind of bounces and skips across the field. When you water it, it slides across and makes the passing so much more smooth.
A good fake that time on the cross. And now the ball is played on the near side over to Kemp. That goal has certainly looked like it's inspired Richmond. They're playing with a lot more energy.
Yeah, Arizona's had to drop down a little bit after that.
It's like they're looking for that second goal to try to put this thing away. Here's Spitz. He's got an opportunity, winding one up. It's blocked. Opportunity here, though, and it's poked away by Arizona. Here's Dillon now. And Dillon getting some pressure from Callahan. Trying to hook up with Okafor, but turnover. Here's George Davis IV on the run. He's going to get his shot away. No, he's going to roll a pass over to Yaisley. Yaisley back for Davis into some open space. It's tracked down. Now Callahan's got it. He settles it off to Colin Martin. Martin back to Callahan. Mike dances around one defender. Now rolls it over to Martin. Good composure here by Richmond. Trying to reestablish their offensive attack. And Lee plays it back to Colin Martin. Martin's ball into the box and it went over the head. And I think Deli was trying to draw a foul, and ref wasn't having anything of that.
Yeah, you can see how much faster the ball's moving right now. You're exactly right, Ryan. And we got another sub for Richmond, number 21, Cristiano Francois is coming in for number 11, George Davis IV. Francois is one of the leading assist guys in USL Pro for a guy who hasn't really started much. He's on loan from DC United, hasn't gotten a ton of minutes, but like I said, he's got 3 or 4 assists on the season.
So George Davis IV, the goal scorer tonight, is going to take a seat on the bench the rest of the night as Francois comes in. Mike Neville, Mark Bushman, Ryan Hines along with you. Hope you're enjoying our coverage of USL Pro Soccer. Mike's directing us with Tourbeau Sports Group. Ball's played back. And the ball is played near midfield. Yambi and here's an opportunity. Ball played ahead, and a shot and a whistle and an offsides. Fortunate there, but I think it was for a correct call.
I'll tell you, I give a lot of credit here to the ball boys. Everybody went running, even the parents. Some of the kids definitely went running, but these ball boys stuck it out. They stick with their job here in City Stadium.
They are devoted.
So here's Richmond in possession. Over to Kemp. Kemp's been very effective tonight on that on the sides, as you mentioned, Ryan, getting some crosses into the middle of the box.
He has, and right there you can see that quick switch of a ball that opened up Arizona there, and that's, Arizona's partly getting tired and heavy legs, and
Yep.
and those quick switches are the ones that are going to expose Arizona as much as possible, and that was a switch from Taylor Kemp, left back, all the way over to Alex Lee, who's the right back.
Yeah, I think Lee and Kemp are a great duo as far as crosses are concerned. And I think the more often they play together, I think the better that is for Richmond.
Hey, fans, make sure to follow at USL Pro on Twitter for all the latest updates. USL Pro on Twitter at USL Pro. So here's Arizona regaining possession. Here's Ruthven. Off to Woodbury. Those are the 2 subs that have come in for Arizona. Here's Gallego. Back to Ruthven as now Arizona tries to get some possession going. There's Morrison rolling it through, but the ball escapes the intended target, and Martin plays it to Delhi. Richmond's turn to try to get the attack going. Here's Yambi. Callahan takes a look, and now he finds Francois. Rolls it over to Lee. Alex Lee on the far side. Good ball to Francois. And he'll play it back to Colin Martin. Martin's got some time. Tried to get through.
Side there.
Yep.
And I think what we're seeing from Arizona in the last couple minutes, when you look at the subs, he's going with more of an athletic lineup. I think maybe looking to counter. Woodbury's got lots of speed, and he's up there with Tashuna, and then Okafor's back there. So I think what he's trying to do is Arizona's going to try and break quick on the counter. He's got a very fast group of guys up there. So hoping to see if they can get a quick turnover and go the other way. Should be interesting to see what happens over the next 30 minutes.
Certainly, and it's definitely counterintuitive to what they've previously been doing throughout the course of the game, which is smooth possession, try to keep the ball, try to play high percentage passes, and then obviously counterattacks are kind of the opposite as that. But you know what? They're trying to steal some points here. They need something out of this road trip.
Here's Kemp. Beautiful ball by Taylor Kemp, and it's finished off by Delhi.
So anyway,
Just like that, it's 2-0 Richmond.
as we've all said tonight, Taylor Kemp has had his best, I think maybe been the best player on the field. I think he's made some great defensive plays. That cross was absolutely pinpoint. That's going to be one of the easiest goals Matthew Delicott will ever score, and that's because of the great ball.
4th goal for Delhi this season. And a great cross from Taylor Kemp. Again, it's just one of those plays, guys. It comes from nothing, really. It's just an innocent-looking play, but what a great cross. And Newton couldn't do anything about it in the Arizona goal.
And that's what Matthew Delicott has made a living of in this USL Pro League and also USL 1 back when he was with Rochester. And that is he just puts himself at the right place at the right time. He doesn't stray out to the wings on the.
Arizona trying to counter here. And Francois with a nice little back heel pass. But that is the MO, isn't it, Ryan? You've followed, and I know Mark's followed Matthew Delicott for a number of years. He doesn't get the greatest looking goals, but boy, that was a great effort on that diving header right there. And now Arizona in possession. Well, in the NHL playoffs, 2-goal leads have been devastating to the team that has the 2-goal leads. And here's Richmond with a 2-0 advantage, and let's see if...
I would still much rather have a 2-goal lead than a 1-goal lead. I'm sorry.
Here's a Francois off to Delicate. Good ball over to Spitz.
You got Taylor on the overlap, Kemp on the overlap again.
Spitz drops it off now to Callahan. He's being hounded and being held and grabbed and by Dillon.
And you can see, though, Arizona is not giving up easy. You know, they're chasing. They're kind of biting some heels there. Beautiful. And there's Matthew Delicate. He really makes that living in between 18 to 18.
Look at this cross.
What a great, that's a great ball.
Nice shaped in behind the defenders, whipped in so the goalkeeper doesn't know whether to come, not to come.
Another situation where we've seen it earlier in the season as well, where the defenders thought he was offsides and kind of gave up on the play. You've really got to play through the whistle. So here's an opportunity for Richmond after the foul was called.
And I wonder what's taking place here. Obviously, Jason Yeisley, he's not the most technical as far as being able to manipulate the ball up and down over the wall, and I wonder if he's just going to lash it.
He takes a shot, and that one just went over the bar.
And you wondered correctly.
I did.
Wow.
It was kind of a given. I already knew that, knowing him so well.
Yeah, I was going to say, you guys are all your guys are buddies out there. Okay, we got another substitution coming in for Arizona, number 13, Kadeem Dacris. Sorry, guys. He's coming in for number 7, John Okafor, who had some good plays in the first half, kind of disappeared in the second half, and a lot of that obviously is going to be because he's not getting the ball a whole lot, with Arizona having to play so defensive. So I think what Coach De La Russo is doing now, Ryan, is I think he's just getting guys some minutes. So
Certainly.
he's not running anybody into the ground. Chances are they're probably not going to get a point tonight, so you get some legs and get guys a run for 15 to 20 minutes and hopefully get something out of tomorrow.
No, I agree with you. With 1-0, you have some hope of getting some points here. With 2-0, you don't want to throw in the towel, but you also have to make sure that you're being smart and you're managing not just this game, but you're managing also the next game as well. Now, I will tell you also, Coach Michael De La Russo, I'm not too sure if he's ever been to Harrisburg before, but the pitch and the way that the grass is, it's heavy, and it weighs on your legs like you wouldn't believe. A turf like this here in Richmond, where it's cut nice and short, is so different compared to Harrisburg, where it's about 2 or 3 inches long, and it just wears you out. And these players, obviously, if he wears them thin tonight, he's not going to get too much out of them tomorrow.
Dacris was one of the goal scorers in the win over Charlotte last week, 2-1, so he certainly has goal-scoring ability. There's Francois' pass off to Kemp, and Woodbury stepped in front of that to mess all that up. There's Willis touching it now to Lee. I was looking at the Richmond roster, and Samuel Asante is not on the roster. And here's another opportunity.
Ball.
Here's Taylor Kemp. Takes a look into the middle, and he'll try it again, and this time it'll be a goal kick.
He got greedy on that one. He probably should have let that run out for a corner.
Yep.
You start to wonder, though, Taylor Kemp's being able to break down that line there, and I don't think that ball was good enough for him to hit first time. If he could hit that ball first time, he would have wrapped his foot around it, put it right in Matthew Delicate's path. Matthew Delicate, it looked like he was onside from up here, but that's what Taylor Kemp wanted to do. I don't think the pass into him allowed him to do that, but he was looking to hit that early and on the ground and just skip it right into Matthew Delicate's path, and that would have been Matthew Delicate's, or the 3rd goal of the game here.
So here's the restart after the foul was called against Richmond, and it is number 6, Del Piccolo. Proud sponsor of USL Pro is Nike. Nike, of course, you can follow at Nike Soccer on Twitter for all the latest Nike soccer information. And, of course, a proud sponsor of USL Pro is Nike.
And the rain's picked up once again.
Yep. 2-0. Kickers on top. 2 goals here early in the second half. George Davis the 4th with his 5th, and Matthew Delicate with his 4th. And a whistle, foul against Arizona. As I mentioned, the Kickers in action on Wednesday night coming up, U.S. Open Cup at Sportsbackers Stadium. One of the longest, not the longest, tournaments in U.S. soccer history, correct?
It is the longest one. I believe we started in 1916.
Yep.
And we'd be remiss if we didn't mention our buddy Josh Hocklow, who's a friend of both Ryan and I, and he's done such a great job of promoting that tournament, and what a great tournament and historical tournament it is for the in U.S. soccer. It kind of gets lost in the wayside a little bit, maybe not as important as some people would think it is. But Josh is, he does a lot of this stuff out of his own pocket. He's really pushed it, so we really owe a lot to Josh Hocklow and all the work that he does on that tournament.
And if you don't think it's important, DC United won the U.S. Open Cup last season. That was the only thing they had to cheer about, and they were very happy to win that U.S. Open Cup title.
They had more wins in the Open Cup title than they had in the entire MLS season.
And you know what's quite scary is they almost lost here in Richmond against Richmond as well. Had to go to penalties for that game.
Here comes Geisley playing it off to Kemp. Kemp's got some time and space, and he's going to crank one that deflected off a Arizona player right to Francois, but he had it knocked away from him. Woodbury challenging Yambi, but Yambi calmly heads it over. Here's Spitz. Spitz putting one into the box, and he overshot to Delicate, and he'll roll over the sideline for a throw-in for Arizona.
Another substitution for Richmond. Number 9, Tashan Hanley's coming in for number 7, Matthew Delicate.
And Lee Kalishaw is looking at this as an opportunity of getting some inexperienced players some time and seeing what he might be able to get out of them later on throughout the course of the season.
Well, I'm familiar with Hanley. He played for my PDL team a couple of years ago, and let me tell you, the guy scores goals. That's what he does. He's one of those guys, and we would give him grief about it. He'd be a disappeared guy for 89 minutes, and then in 1 minute he'd get that game winner, that game-tying goal. So Hanley has a nose for goal. He's got great speed. He's a great athlete. So curious, and I'm excited to see what he's going to do in these last 20 minutes here for Richmond. And great game by Matthew Delicate again. The ageless wonder, isn't he?
I don't know if he's ageless, but he continues to score goals.
Deli, of course, getting the start tonight.
And that's almost in lieu of Michael Seaton kind of being, whether or not he's being called up to D.C. because they're looking at him playing, or if he's still kind of carrying an injury there.
There's Hanley with an opportunity. Nice pass ahead, and he poked it wide. I think Spitz gave him the pass ahead. And
how brilliant would I have looked if he made that?
Would have been a first.
There you go. Da-dum-dum.
That's a word I don't associate with you. Sorry.
That's right. Nobody does.
There's the goal kick.
I believe I saw some lightning flashing.
Oh, don't say that.
I'm really hoping the referee didn't see it.
There's a push and a foul. They're gonna get Hanley with the push.
I think you're at the point now where, any type of a delay, I think even Arizona doesn't want a delay. They just want to kind of get going. I'm going to make the assumption that they're going to go ahead on up to Harrisburg tonight.
Here's Francois, and his shot skims along the grass. It's just wide.
Let me ask you that, Ryan. You've done all this before. When you have a back-to-back or something like that, especially when you're on the road, do you want to go ahead and just get to the city after the game? You don't want to spend the night here and then go?
Certainly. Yeah, you want to get there as soon as you possibly can. Get a good night's rest, whether it's on the Kickers bus, which I see that they have over there. They'll probably be utilizing that this entire trip. I know Rochester had utilized the Kickers bus as well. There's sleepers inside of the bus. So you want to get there. You want to be relaxed before the game. You don't want to have to be traveling cramped up, not being on your feet. So you want to be loose. You want to be relaxed, and you want to be comfortable before a game.
That's a great ball from Hanley off on the far side. And here's the cross. And it was actually headed by Dillon to his own goalkeeper.
Forgot which way he was going.
I've had that happen when I was playing in high school. The only trouble is they score. Here's that shot from Francois that scooted just wide. Unfortunately, when my guy shot at me, it went in. Burst of wind just came through the press box. There's a pass off now to Ruthven for Woodbury. He couldn't handle it. And Kemp Boy, Kemp's playing with a lot of confidence tonight.
A couple of Maryland guys going at it there.
Here's Kemp dropping it off to Callahan. He gets pressure. He gets taken down. No call. And here's an opportunity. Good ball rolled over. And the shot blocked. That's a great block. I believe that was Shanoski.
That was.
And that was almost the exact same play that the Richmond Kickers scored on with Colin Martin over to George Davis IV. Very, very similar, where he draws the defender in, lays it off to the wide guy, and the wide guy took 2 touches there, and obviously the window was open on a first touch shot, but he just wasn't comfortable hitting that.
Got another substitution here for Arizona. Coming on as number 20, Joseph Toby, and going out as number 10, Shilo Tshuma.
And Joseph Toby is an interesting player. He played
Good ball rolled over, and the shot blocked. That's
team. Got promoted up to the full Orlando squad and didn't actually get any minutes throughout the course of the season, but obviously here in Arizona now.
Saw how the water on the field kind of slowed that pass attempt from Dockery's down as it almost got through to his teammate. Ball's headed away. Here's Dockery settling. Good anticipation. Now Hanley trying to win that 50-50 ball, and does. Here's Spitz taking a quick look and tried to hook up with Francois. Pass was too far in front of him. Yambi heads it away. Nice little give and go there with Dockery's and Woodbury. And here comes Francois.
He's looking for Yeisley.
Yep. Just a little bit too much on that forward attempt. So back comes Arizona. Morrison now playing it ahead. Dockery's drops it off to Toby.
I think, Ryan, I think Arizona's a team that is going to be really interesting going forward. As we've mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, they got a late start as far as adding players and getting things going. And what they've done over the last few weeks is they continually seem to be adding players, and they're bringing in players that are very competent on the ball. Getting Jalen Robinson on loan from DC United for the rest of the year. Jalen's going to be a 90-minute guy for them. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Arizona progresses over the next several weeks.
It is. I agree with you. And you know what? I like they're easy on the eye as well. They play the high percentage passes, not necessarily what you would say is the Hollywood ball of trying to get in behind. Not everybody's trying to make that Hollywood ball. Everybody's playing the high percentage passes and keeping the ball moving. So it's very smooth. And a telltale sign of their progress and what their intent is the guy in the back, center back, Daniel Antunes. When I played with him in Rochester, New York, we played for my first season together. He was brought in on loan. I was brought in on loan. He was a defensive midfielder, but helped facilitate the game for the most part. And he's playing center back here and now. He had an opportunity to go play in the Mexican Primera Division. He's also played in Finland, so he's got a lot of experience. Where along the line he became a center back, I'm not 100% positive.
Well, the referee just blew his whistle, and there's a lightning delay, or with unofficially about
70. Looks like we're about the 77th minute.
Yeah.
Well, we were hoping we wouldn't get one, but we got one.
So again, we're in a delay due to lightning. As the rain stopped for a moment and then picked right back up, and now we are in a lightning delay, which is, I believe, 30 minutes? Or
I don't know. Do we have to ad-lib for the next 30 minutes, or can we go to a commercial break?
My goodness, I hope Mike gives me the cut sign. So it's a 2-0 advantage for Richmond. Goals again, George Davis IV scoring, and also Matthew Delicott scoring as well.
Yeah, over the loudspeaker, they just said it's going to be a 30-minute delay. So
right.
And that's not something Arizona wants to hear.
No, exactly.
Arizona, like I mentioned before, wants to get on the road, wants to get into Harrisburg. Any delays is going to affect any sort of positivity or anything that they're carrying over into Harrisburg, and it's actually going to more or less than hinder anything.
Yeah.
So 2-0 Richmond here, and again, this occurs in about the 77th minute. And again, the goals were scored by George Davis IV, his 5th of the year. And Matthew Delicott scored his 4th of the year to give Richmond a 2-0 advantage here over Arizona.
And it is 2-0. It shows 0-0 on the screen on it. It is 2-0 Richmond.
And again, we're going to wait out a lightning delay. Hopefully it's not, it's no longer than the 30 minutes that they've already announced. But it is 2-0 Richmond here with the advantage over Arizona. So we're going to take a break, I guess, and we'll come back and we'll hopefully get this thing underway after this lightning delay. But it is 2-0 Richmond, and we are in the midst of a weather delay from City Stadium in Richmond, Virginia. You're watching on YouTube.
Coming on, number 8, Hugh Roberts. Replacing number 5, Mike Callahan. Number 8, Roberts is on.
And welcome back. City Stadium
For number 5, Callahan.
in Richmond, Virginia.
Also on for Richmond. Number
We have
23,
got the weather delay done with, hopefully for the rest of the night. We got about, what, Mark, about 14, 15 minutes left in this one?
We can only hope.
Yeah, right, right.
Some of us have a curfew. Now Ryan had to step out, but we'll see him in the next game. So
Yep.
It'll be interesting. Like I said, there's not a whole lot of time left, Mike. So I'm curious as to what kind of rhythm either team can get into. If you're Richmond, do you just try and just play through these last 14 minutes and just run it out, or do you try to put the pressure on a little bit more?
Right, and we did have a substitution made by Richmond. Hugh Roberts, who I don't believe we've seen here at home, has entered the contest.
He's in for Mike Callahan.
Right. Didn't get. I knew he came in, but I couldn't remember who he replaced. 2-0, Richmond on top. It was 0-0 at the break, and then George Davis the fourth found the back of the net, and Deli on a beautiful cross from Taylor Kemp made it 2-0. That's where we stand right now, as Arizona is in possession.
And needless to say, a majority of the home crowd has already departed for the evening, but the Red Army's down in the corner. You can still hear them.
Yep.
Gotta love those fans. And Taylor Kemp's offside.
offside.
And I believe when we were in the in that weather delay, we went down to the press box, and Orlando and Pittsburgh were playing. I believe it was 1-0. I'm not sure if that ended up being the final.
I believe that ended up as 1-0 final.
For Orlando?
Orlando,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, Orlando starting off as they have the last couple of years on a very, very good
Yep.
streak there.
Morrison with his attempt into the box. There's Alex Lee. It'll be a throw in for Arizona. Yeah, the Kickers coming in with a mark of 2-1-3 on the early season. And as I mentioned, Arizona has a 3-game unbeaten streak that may come to a halt here, unless they can make a terrific rally.
There's always a chance when you have a long layoff like this. Sometimes one team will come out really flat and the other will come out a little more energized. So.
And with the crowd, a lot of them dispersing, Mark, it kind of takes away a little bit of the energy and so forth as far as from the Richmond side of things.
Yeah, I think so. But like I said, there's not a whole lot of time left, and that's some good ball work right there from Richmond.
Very nice.
Just run the clock out,
Yep.
get Arizona to try and run a little bit, do some possession there.
I believe
just kill this off.
And sorry to interrupt you.
That's okay.
I believe it was Hanley to Francois to Kemp, and they just kept it going for a good 20 seconds or so. And that's really all they need to do is just continue.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it was Roberts, not who was involved in that last little. So here's Taylor Kemp, who we think has been the player of the match. Here's another ball into the middle. Oh, that just missed.
Boy, he almost put that in.
Yes, he did.
I don't think that's what he meant, but boy, that did not miss the bar by the post by a whole lot at all.
There's a look at Shea Spitz. He was trying to get under that. I'm not sure if the wind had – it's still a little bit breezy here. I'm not sure if the wind had something to do with that mark or not, but that really was a dangerous opportunity.
Yeah. Again, like it came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But, again, Kemp has had free reign on the sidelines all evening. And, again, he and Alex Lee are both so good at making those runs out of the back, doing those overlap runs as outside backs. And that really opens up all kinds of opportunities for Richmond in the middle.
This is Sasha Gores, I believe, taking his corner kick, and he didn't hit it well.
No, he did not.
He's got it back, though. And into the box, headed away by Arizona. I'm not sure who Sasha came in for.
I believe he came in for Alex Lee. Maybe. Oh, I'm not sure.
And the whistle.
I thought it was.
I'm pretty sure that was Sasha that was taking that corner
Yeah, that
kick,
was.
you
No,
know.
he.
I mean, I know I'm getting old, but number 23 on my roster is Sasha Gores.
Yeah, I think he came in for Colin Martin. I don't see 14 out there right now.
Throw in for Arizona. I think that was Daiquiris that was trying to get around Richmond. Here's Ruthven to throw it in for Arizona. Pardon me. Ruthven surveying the situation. Good strong throw into the box. Headed away. I believe that was Jambi that got head above everybody.
Here's a good opportunity for Richmond on the break. Here comes Francois using that speed. Wow.
Boy, he does have some speed, doesn't he? He's got Yaisley with him. He's also got Hanley. And here's Yaisley settling just outside the box. Fakes a shot. Yaisley gets a shot away. That's blocked. Good sliding block that time. That looked like an NHL defenseman right there. Now the ball is put in and headed over the bar, but I believe he was offsides. Yeah, Hanley was offsides.
Yeah, Yaisley really could have used that goal. Like I said, not having a whole lot of playing time over last year because of his concussion. He really wanted that, and good work. I like that from Francois. One of the things I've been a little critical about him is that he seems to have been playing a little slower and not forcing the issue as much. But on that one, he used blazing speed and was able to get from north to south really quickly for Richmond, and that's what Lee Kalishaw has him in there for.
Hanley flicks the ball and now chips it to midfield. Ball is Yaisley tried to play it back to Francois, but it was picked off. And don't forget, fans, you can watch every USL Pro regular season and playoff game. We're going to be streaming it live on YouTube this season. Features include DVR, chat, and social media interactivity. Subscribe for free to the Richmond Kickers YouTube channel today.
And that foul there on Yaisley, I'm really surprised that didn't get a yellow card. The player was clearly behind Yaisley when he left his feet, and he took Yaisley down. I'm really surprised that wasn't a yellow card. That's pretty much almost a guarantee these days.
Here's played back. Here's Yambi. Off to Gorez. And Sasha now will swing it over to Shanaz. I believe that was Shanowski. And there is Colin Martin, who we didn't think was on the field.
Well,
so.
I'm lost.
I'm with you. I don't know who he came in for.
We never got the memo on that sub.
Maybe it's Vercoloni. No, Vercoloni went out at halftime, didn't he? I'm not sure. Maybe they're playing with 12 men. Who knows? They pulled the goalie. Here is Arizona in possession. Ball lofted near the box, and Yambi got a head on it. Boy, he has got such great recovery.
He really does.
And now he rolls it over to Roberts, and Roberts' clearing attempt was blocked by, I believe, Woodward, and Roberts is down. Here's the cross. There's a shot blocked. That was number 20, Toby, who had his shot blocked. Roberts is still down. There's Ruthven, and his cross attempt goes off Sasha. And here's Dockery's playing it back now.
It's a good ball.
Into the box.
Good pressure from Arizona here.
Yep. Good job, good composure there. I'm not sure if that was Kemp or Shanowski, but they did a nice job of not getting rattled, and Roberts is back up. He didn't get the call, so he got back up. Good ball.
Oh, that's a great ball. Here's comes Francois. They got a 3v0, basically.
Francois shooting and scoring. No offsides. It counts. Francois with his first goal of the season.
And let me tell you, that's a goal that came out of nowhere as well. It looked like a misplay that got back to Alex Lee. He just played it forward to Francois, I believe, and Francois just took it from there. That's as I mentioned just a minute ago, they really want to use Francois' speed, and hadn't really seen a whole lot of it this year. But wow, twice in the last 3 minutes, and he gets the goal there. Really, really nice composure on that to put this game away for Richmond, 3-0.
Cristiano Francois with his first goal of the season, and the Kickers' lead is up to 3-0. And a beautiful ball from Alex Lee. This has been a good effort from Richmond tonight. Nice bounce-back game from the Rochester game, which really they looked slow and they didn't look very indecisive, Mark. I think this is a good bounce-back game.
Well, to be quite honest with you, I mean, Lee Kalishaw might disagree with me. I don't think Richmond's looked great for the last month. They had a loss in Charlotte that they should have at least gotten a draw out of. They gave up a late goal. They didn't play very well against Pittsburgh. They were down 2-0, were able to get the 2-2 draw.
Right.
Same thing against Rochester. Rochester scores late, and Richmond is good enough and keeps their composure to get the draw again. But it's one of the problems that they had last year. As great a season as they had last year, Mike, they had a lot of games where they had the lead late and they wound up having draws at home. So I think when you have teams like the LA Galaxy, you have Orlando City, you've got to get your 3 points at home, and that's why this is a really big thing for Richmond. Not only to win, but to win convincingly.
Right,
I think that's really big for the squad.
I agree with you.
Thank you.
Okay, let me rephrase my point. It's the best they've looked this season that we've seen, in my opinion.
Okay. Yes.
There's an opportunity for Arizona. Oh, wide open. Well, that was a Woodbury, excuse me. What do we get? Offsides? Or no, we're just still playing. Okay.
No, the Arizona bench pleading for a penalty there. I could see that being called. I could.
Yeah.
And we're talking about Richmond and how well they've played. Arizona up until the red card, those first 20 minutes, I thought Arizona held their own.
Yeah.
When you lose a player to a red card, though, I mean, it's really, really difficult to come back from. So, but Arizona kind of they get out of here. Hopefully, they doesn't look like they've had any injuries or anything like that. So they go up to a Harrisburg team that is a very, very blue collar team, as Ryan said earlier. And they're going to try and grind out at least a point, hopefully trying to get 3 tomorrow. But like I said, I really like what Arizona's doing. I think they're only going to get better as the season progresses and they start getting some more players. So
here's Roberts. Dancing away from a couple of defenders. He's got some speed.
He's got some speed there.
And gets a good cross in. And that's an own goal.
That is an own goal.
And it's 4-0. And the roof has collapsed on Arizona. That was Ruthven.
Yeah, that was Ruthven number 2. That was a really tough one. That might have gone in anyway because I think if he doesn't touch it, I don't think Newton gets the ball.
Yeah.
And I think Yeisley was right there to knock it in.
I thought it was Yeisley who was on the.
Yeah.
How about the speed from Roberts, though? He showed some pretty good speed.
I'll tell you what. We mentioned earlier there's a couple guys who not on the 18 tonight for Richmond is Samuel Asante is one, and there's a couple other. Kyle Porter's was not loaned out from D.C. and Michael Seaton as well. But when you look at Calishaw's Richmond teams, gosh, every year they seem to be able to go 20 to 22 deep. Now that they've got the loan agreement with D.C., you've added some more players. So Richmond's just a factory for some really good players. And like I said, we don't know a whole lot about Roberts, but look pretty good on that one.
Yeah. And here it is again. And, I think if he doesn't touch it, if he doesn't get that, I think Yeisley's got an open net. Well, the thing Lee likes to see, and I know every coach loves to see, is when you're given an opportunity as a player, you've got to take advantage of the minutes you get. And I think that's what we're seeing tonight with Francois, Roberts,
absolutely.
and there's one other player that's played pretty well, and I can't think of his name.
Yeisley.
Must be it. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Maybe he hasn't played as well as I thought. But they are getting their opportunity and taking advantage.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that'll be a throw-in for Richmond.
And that's what you're going to do. It's not like they're trying to run up the score or anything like that. But again, when you're fighting for minutes, you're going to do whatever it takes. You're not going to let up any of the pressure. So, but on the other side, you don't want to give anything up either.
Right.
I mean, you might want to score and try to get more involved offensively, but you cannot forget your defensive responsibilities. Because as a team, I think a coach is more happy with a shutout than anything else.
Right. So here is Morrison taking a look now, sending one into the box, flicked on, and trying to settle it down was number 13, Dockery, and he had it knocked off his foot. There's a quick restart. Good ball. And Dockery's pushed down by Youngfield.
There will be a post-game party tonight at the Post Palace.
So it'll be a goal kick for Richmond. Yabby was just making sure that there was open.
Yeah. And we're going into the 90th. We actually are in the 90th minute, so I'm thinking maybe 2 or 3 minutes of stoppage time at most.
So the goal kick from Willis. And the ball played back for Newton, and he's got to hustle to try to keep it in play, and he couldn't. Like I said, the wheels have come off. The roof has collapsed.
Yeah, they have. It's tough to come back from weather delay.
I believe I think that was Gallego that sent it back to Newton, and he couldn't corral it. The bloodthirsty Richmond
really
fans want more. All fans say that, though. Here's a short corner. Nice move there, and it's headed away. There's Francois for Richmond. Under some duress, and a whistle. And it's going to be against Arizona.
And they're only going to have 1 minute of stoppage time, so.
There's a look at the other referee that's helping out this evening.
Richmond should just play this short and just kind of get this 1 minute over with.
Colin Martin is going to take this free kick. He's directing traffic, and he's playing it into the corner. It's headed. And looking for the offsides, and Arizona did enough protesting to get that call. So it's on to the Wednesday night U.S. Open Cup matchup, Mark, against RVA FC.
Which should be a lot of fun, and you can watch that game on U.S. Soccer, I believe, Mike.
Yep,
You will be calling that one.
So that's it. 3-0 is your final.
4-0.
Or 4-0, excuse me. I lost track here.
We got affected by the weather delay as
That's
well.
right. George Davis, the fourth, scoring to get things going for Richmond, followed by Matthew Delicott with his fourth goal of the year. By the way, it's the fifth goal of the year for George Davis, the fourth. And then it was Francois getting his first goal of the season, and then an own goal to cap it off for Richmond. 4-0. The Kickers are your winners this evening here at City Stadium. They snapped the 3-game unbeaten streak of Arizona, and as Mark and I mentioned, from both of us, we think it's a pretty solid effort and probably the best so far that Richmond has presented, at least that we've had a chance to see here at City Stadium.
Yeah, I thought they did a good job. I think the insertion of Yeisley at halftime, I think did a whole lot of kind of open it up. Yeisley's a big player, so you had him and Delicott to work with. So I think that was a big thing, and just a good overall game from Richmond tonight.
And again, it was 0-0 at the half, but the Kickers explode for 4 goals in the second half. There's your final, as you can see, 4-0 on the scoreboard. As Richmond, here is some of the action that we had. This is the goal from George Davis, the fourth, Mark, and the turnover. Of course, Arizona was looking for a foul, and as Ryan said, this pass might not was Davis had to hold up, but George Davis, the fourth, did a nice job of readjusting and knocking that one past Newton. You can see the rain that was coming down at the time as well. So that made it 1-0, and then here is I believe this is the own goal, that Ruthven tried to lift over the crossbar, but unfortunately that was Roberts with the cross, and that was the fourth and final goal as the Kickers post this 4-0 victory tonight. So it's on to the U.S. Open Cup on Wednesday night. Again, that game will be played not here, but at Sportsbackers Stadium against RVA FC. So on behalf of we're going to get another, here's a shot that was blocked. Nice block that time as Richmond played really good defense.
To George Davis the fourth, very, very similar.
Good hustle when Willis didn't have to handle that shot that was taken. You can see Joe Willis there trying to keep the guys pumped up here after probably about a 30-minute weather delay that we had. And here's the red card that really kind of changed the complexion of this game, Mark. You can see the referee coming in. Again, it was not a headbutt, but he was certainly, I think he was thinking that.
You can't go nose to nose. You can't bring your hands up. And what started that was Shea Spitz. He did push him, and I think that's what got him the yellow card. But then the retaliation was just it.
All right, so on behalf of our production team and my broadcast partners, Mark Bushman and Ryan Himes, I'm Mike Neville. Once again, the final score from City Stadium in Richmond is 4-0. The Kickers picking up the home win. So long, everybody. Thanks for watching Richmond Kickers Soccer.